Attention! The following video may contain fun, humor, profanity, personal opinions, political incorrectness, and so on. If you are under the age of 18 or are easily offended by something as simple as gendered words, then I suggest you turn this video off and watch something more suited to you. Something like Sesame Street. Don't say I didn't warn you. G'day guys. Welcome to part 2 of the Saito FA-62b break-in procedure. Now this video, like I said, is part 2. And what we're doing in this video is basically finishing up the break-in procedure of the engine. So in part 1, which I'll have linked in the description box down below, in part 1 what we did is we did the initial engine startup, and running on the bench. So it's had about 600 cc's of fuel run through it, and then that was the end of the bench running. So what I've done now is I have installed the installed the engine into the model, and what we're going to do is in the backyard, before we head out to the airfield, is I'm going to start it and give it a slight tune, just so it's making power but it's still running on the rich side. You don't want the engine to run at optimum tuning. In other words, don't want it too hot. You still want everything to be nicely lubricated. So we're going to give it a quick tune in the backyard, and then with the magic of video editing, we're going to be at the field, and I will go through with you the break-in for flying. So let's just give it a quick tune now. Alright, got everything filled up. So what we're going to do is start it, let it warm up, and then we'll give it a slight tune. We may even have to change the tune slightly at the airfield if there's a sudden change of temperature and so forth. So what we're going to do, didn't fill the tank up completely, I'm just going to start it, and hopefully we have no issues. Alright guys, so we're out at the field. Bit of a breeze at the moment, and as you can tell, it's kind of cold. It's winter. So we're ready to do the first flight with the new engine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do my range check, get it started, make sure the tune is right. I might have to adjust it a little bit because the temperature is a bit colder here out at the field than what it was in my backyard when we did that initial tune. Shouldn't need much, so I'm going to do that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to just have a little casual flight, and I'll explain things as we go along during the flight. Alright guys, what we're going to do, like I said, we're going to do a nice casual flight and see how we got a nice, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, we got a nice stream of smoke. Oh, she's cold. Yeah, look for a nice stream of smoke. I had to richen the mixture up a bit because of the sudden change in temperature. But we're just going to have a casual flight and just fly around. Alright, we're just going to take off from here. We'll just give her a quick rev up. Alright, let's go. I'm just going to fly it at half throttle. And all we're going to do is some nice circuits. It's a little bit windy today, so I'm just going to go easy. And what we're going to do is every couple of circuits we're going to do a little land and just check the fuel level. This engine has definitely got a lot more torque than the ASP engine. See how there's a nice stream of smoke coming out of the exhaust? That's what we want to see. So we're just going to keep it at around half throttle. So we don't want the engine to go too low in RPM and risk having a flame out. That sounds awesome. Sounds a lot better than the ASP engine. She's definitely got a lot more torque. But yeah, probably can't see it because of the sunlight. But there's a nice stream of smoke coming from the exhaust. Alright, so we're going to come in for a landing. Oh, well, it's committed now. That's just because she's running rich. Just before we restart, guys, I'm still
where I just landed. Now you probably can't see too well. It's used just in those few circuits there, it's probably used just about 1/8 of a tank, so not a lot. That's all right. That's still pretty good. What we'll do now is we'll go back, restart it. I'll just adjust the RPM, and then we'll go for another takeoff and do a few more circuits and do another landing and check the fuel level again. Give it a rev up. Alright, let's go again. I did lean the mixture out about just over a quarter of a turn. And so I haven't filled up at all yet, still the same amount of fuel. Still a nice stream of smoke coming from the exhaust. And that's what you want to do. Every pass you do a low flow by, see the amount of smoke coming out if you can't see it at a higher altitude. Yeah, nice smoke. So we're going to do this for a full tank. Well, not a full tank, you want to have fuel left before you land. Alright, I'm going to bring it in for a landing. And we're going to check the fuel level. It's very windy today. That could have gone badly. Oh! Yeah. So what we'll do, well, there you go guys, see we got about a quarter of a tank left, so it is running quite rich, which is good. Alright guys, so what we're going to do now, we've got about a quarter of a tank left on the, got about a quarter of a tank left. So what we're going to do now is I'm off camera going to finish running it in. So what you just saw there, do little takeoff and landings for a flight, check your fuel level because obviously you don't want to run out of fuel, and as you could saw we weren't in the air for very long. So do this for about 5 tanks of fuel, so 5 flights. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to do that off camera. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we're actually going to go back to the shed and the workbench, and what we're going to do now, so this is after completely breaking in the engine, we are going to take the engine out and we are going to check the valves. Alright guys, so we're in the shed now. So finished the breaking in. So I did 5 flights and I did what you saw in the clip. Just did some circuits, landed, checked the fuel, did a few more circuits, because it is running rich. Now at this point now we don't tune the engine in for optimum performance. What we're going to do now is, now that the break-in is done, what we're going to do now is check the valves and make sure that the clearances on the rockers are set, because they've done their thing and been going up and down, the spring has been compressed. So now we'll check the valves with the feeler gauge, and we will then, after that, it's a case of tuning it in. So what we'll need for this, we'll need a 2mm hex driver or Allen key, if that what you got. I'll start again. With the tools that you can use, the tools that are supplied with the engine, I'm just going to use my own. So give me a sec guys. What I'll do is I will take this off camera, and then I will proceed with the feeler gauge. Alright guys, so got the covers off. When you take the covers off, especially with these engines, you'll see that there's a gasket around there. Just be careful, don't try and just reef off the rocker cover there. You don't want to damage the gasket, because then you won't have a proper seal and it's obvious you're going to have oil leakage. So yeah, just be aware of that. Now what we're going to do guys is we are going to check the clearance just under here, and to do that is with the included feeler gauge. Now if you don't have one on hand, this is 0.1 millimeters. That's the size of the feeler gauge. Now when we put the feeler gauge under, you want you look for when the valve goes down and it's at its resting spot. So what we'll do is we'll slide it under there, and you'll want the valve to be just you want it to be able to just slide in like that. Now see how it just slides in, and you want it to actually just start to pinch and like feel like it's grabbing. Now it's not grabbing, so what we're going to do guys is we're going to adjust it, and to do that what we have to do is we have to loosen this nut, and then with a 1.5 millimeter Allen key or wrench we'll loosen it off, so, or adjust it so that the rocker there moves up and down. So carefully undo it. I'm trying to do this one-handed guys, just bear with me. Okay, so it's loosened off. So now what we'll do is we'll adjust it carefully. So we'll put the feeler gauge in. We'll actually take that off so it's not giving it a false reading. Okay. Okay, it's grabbing, so now we just back it off a little. There we go. And what you want it to do is you want to feel it just so that the feeler gauge is just starting to be grabbed by the rocker there. So it just starts to get sandwiched. So just give me a second, guys. What I have to do now, I will put that in there carefully because we don't want it to move. Alright, then we'll carefully tighten it. Don't worry if you see the feeler gauge move, that's just because I'm moving the... There we go, it's just grabbing. Good. So I'll just... There we go. Alright. Well, no point showing you the second one. It's exactly the same thing. So what I'm going to do is just do the next one off camera, and then I will wrap this video up. Alright guys, that is basically the end of the break-in procedure for the engine. So the engine's been running on the bench. We've done 5 flights. Obviously I've only filmed 1 on camera, and the other 4 flights I did off camera. The valves have been adjusted, so now essentially all that needs to be done is for the engine to be tuned for optimum flying and economy and power. So that's all that needs to be done now. I'm not going to do the tuning for this because, you know, changes in temperature and air pressure can have an effect on the tuning, so it's pointless to do it now, and then I'm going to do it when I go flying next. So that is it for this video, and that is it for this little 2-part series of engine break-in. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, as I've enjoyed making it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to comment down below. I'll do my best to answer your questions. But until then, guys, enjoy your hobby and cheers.